Hey, YouTube, trigger warning here. This is going to be a tough one to watch. Right off the bat, we're going to be covering, this is our U.S. news section, as the title suggests, and we're going to be covering the Memphis 5. I believe it was Memphis. Yeah, Memphis there. The 5 black police officers, and that really is, interesting to me because that removes the entire racial element, which often takes over the conversation, and rightfully so. But in this case, it's not about race. It's about the badge. It's about what that badge gives you. It's about what that badge does for you and how it protects you. I was just talking to the chat here before I clicked record about what's the difference between beating a man to death and shooting him to death, right? If you're the killer, right? If you're gonna take this man's life anyway, because he's running away from you and pissing you off and back talking, and and you're just gonna shoot him up anyway, plant a gun on him, say you were threatened. It's all legal now, protected by the police unions. What's the difference? Another thing that is interesting, though, I guess there is a racial element here, though, right? Would the police unions be stepping in much harder if these cops were white, right? Oh, right? Oh, shit! Right? Think about that. We often see a lot of racism from these police unions, and they're kind of abandoning these cops. These cops were they're arrested already. They were arrested before the footage was released. No paid vacation, no investigation, none of this, no delay tactics, no editing the video and releasing it, impartially, and, none of that shit. Full transparency, and these guys were immediately arrested for beating a man to death. Is that because they were all black and the police union didn't have their back? I mean, I've definitely seen white cops get off doing shit like this, fucking people up, George Floyd not being one of them, right? But I mean, white cops will beat the shit out of, white drug addicts all day, white junkies, give them special rides and all that. Stanford prison experiment, but in the whole country. All right. Trigger warning for real. I'm sorry in advance. This is, like I said before, this is not the whole video, so this is actually not the worst of it. That part has been cut out, but you do get to see, some of just a touch of what was done to this man over the course of 3 to 5 minutes. And let me tell you that I have seen the parts that have been cut out, and they're absolutely brutal. I mean, they just, it was like everyone took their turn. Everyone had some fun, right? It's like the first guy had some fun. It's like, oh, I want to join in. And everyone got their turn. And then by the time they were done, they're leaning this guy up against the car, and he's probably brain dead at that point. This is what the badge does to you. All right, so we're going to watch it now. Trigger warning.
The latest on the death of Tyree Nichols. City officials have released video of police beating the 29-year-old black man. He later died from his injuries, and we're going to take you through parts of that video now. While it is important context to have a warning for you, what you're about to see is disturbing.
Hey, I didn't turn your best friend. All right.
And to the naysayers, back talking to police or, running away from police does not equal an immediate death sentence. There's a lot of people in the United States that basically believe the twisted idea that if you disobey a cop for whatever reason, your life is immediately forfeit.
You don't do that, okay? Get on the ground.
The video from January 7th begins with a traffic stop and almost immediately turns violent. Nichols is...
I can see why he ran. These guys were animals, man. And I'm not being racist. I'm sorry. Not, I'm not, not in the racist connotation. Whoops, wrong. There we go. Not in the racist connotation, but they were acting animalistic. And if you're the guy, receiving the punishment, you get a good sense of that. Like, man, these guys are like really fucking hard on me, man. Like, I'm scared for my life. That's what this felt like. This didn't feel like him running from a ticket. It felt like him running for his life.
Taken down by police, but frees himself. Officers then chase after him, firing a taser at him as he runs away. Police lose Nichols for a period of time before they catch up.
Well, Kem Goblin, in this case, Kem Goblin's asking, well, why don't they use rubber bullets instead of real bullets? They never fired a shot. They beat this man to death.
To him at a street corner just by his home. It is here that police again pin him to the ground, repeatedly striking and kicking him. Yeah. CBC has chosen not to show the worst of the video. Following that, Nichols is pepper sprayed in the...
So there he is. He's basically dead. He's basically dead at this point. And they wait another 20 minutes or so before medical assistance gets there. They do the whole theater, the whole cuffing him, and, all the cops get there. And no. Like I've said before, from the top down, from the bottom up, police need to be reformed.
Face, and he is then propped up against a car before medical help arrives. Nichols was hospitalized, this photo coming from his family, and he died of his injuries 3 days later. The release of the video has certainly prompted a strong reaction right around the world on the streets of the U.S. and from U.S. leaders. Cameron McIntosh is following that American part of the story for us in Washington, D.C. Good morning, Cameron. What is the latest that you're seeing?
Well, good morning, Chris. When this video, it was announced that it would be coming out in the evening last night, there was a lot of apprehension, not just in Memphis, but in other parts of the country as well, given what we've seen in previous cases. So that was one of the reasons the city of Memphis decided to release this on Friday evening. It wanted to make sure that people were home, had gotten home from work, gotten home from school, so they didn't get caught up in something. We'll show you what happened in Memphis last night. We have pictures from Memphis last night.
Yeah, so, I mean, and I really think that one of the reasons, I think there's a couple reasons why we didn't see massive riots. I think, one, because the cops were immediately arrested. And I think, two, the cops, this wasn't racial violence, right? This was just police brutality. And a lot of people believe in police brutality. A lot of people that, are kind of wishy-washy on it. Like, oh, I don't know if we should hobble the police, right? So this was, I think that dynamic changed it, right? I think the big thing, though, that changed it is the arrests beforehand. Really, I mean, we saw full transparency, apologies immediately, and the family themselves said, please don't get violent. Please don't get violent. Please, if you're going to protest, please don't get violent. So they were stressing that very hard, that, Tyre Nichols would not want a riot associated with his death.
You can see here, there's a protest. This is out on a bridge on an interstate highway. Peaceful protest.
Will a conversation about the race element, about the police unions, abandoning these guys, will that ever be had? I don't know. I don't know if that will be had.
Most part, people coming out, people basically just making a point and stopping traffic for a couple of hours. Now, the family of Tyre Nichols asked for peaceful protests. They wanted protests. They want change to come as a result of this. This is exactly
John Axel. What police did before body cams was is what they do now, which is just lie vociferously on the documentation, time and time and time and time again. I mean, they do it by default. I've actually never seen a case where a cop is 100% truthful on the police report, right? You'll see the video and you'll be like, oh, that cop was out of his fucking mind, totally aggressive, escalated the situation. And then you read the police report and it's like, I was assaulted and I was running for my life and she had a knife and she didn't have a knife. She had a cell phone. You know what I mean? It was just like how it is unbelievable. It is actually criminal how untruthful, how big of a liar cops can be on those police reports. They will lie through their teeth, and there's no ramifications for it.
What they were asking for. They're asking for things to not be violent. Now take a look at this. This is Times Square in New York City, a little bit of a different case. There were a few arrests made in New York City last night, but for the most part around the country, and there were other protests, Boston, Philadelphia, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Dallas, just to name some of them. And there were even demonstrations here in DC last night. So I can tell you that the Capitol building, fencing was put up around the Capitol building yesterday in the event that there would be a large-scale protest. A large-scale protest didn't quite materialize, but there was a smaller protest on Pennsylvania Avenue, just a couple of
I think there's also a lot of fatigue to this. People are just absolutely sick of this, and they people feel hopeless, right? And it's interesting because when people feel hopeless, that's when they stop participating, and it's actually at that point when there's actually this mass hopelessness when you should be doubling down on your participation. Damn, look at this protester blasting this cop. This poor cop. I hope she has earplugs in. Damn.
blocks from where I'm sitting right now in front of the White House. Again, a smaller group of people, but they were vocal. There, no violence there. Earlier in the day, President Joe Biden had called for no violence. He said he understood why people would be outraged and said
only
he
the
was
cops are allowed
outraged
to be
himself,
violent, guys. Come
but
on.
asked that there not be violence. And for the most part, it seems that's what has transpired over the course of the last, 12 hours here, or 13, 14 hours here in the United
States. So they're gonna show this, Joe Biden, comment on this, and I love these Joe Biden comments and statements, right? They never, ever, ever go into and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this. What are you doing in there, hon? What the fuck is going on?
United States. The president also making a statement last night expressing his outrage and his disappointment. He also spoke with the family of Tyre Nichols shortly before the video was released. Here's more now from President Joe Biden.
I spoke with Tyree's mother and expressed my condolences and told her that I was going to be making the case to the Congress that should pass the George Floyd Act. We should get this under control. I can only do so much in an executive order at a federal level.
So there are politics involved here, and you could hear the president talk about the George Floyd Reform Policing Act. That's a bill that the Democrats brought forward that would look at racial bias in policing and excessive use of force in policing. It's been held up by Republicans in the Senate. The president urging them yesterday to get that bill to his desk so he can sign it into law. We're also hearing from civil rights leaders, the Reverend Al Sharpton releasing this statement. Once again, we're forced to watch another horrific video of cops using brutal force to kill a black man. Nearly 3 years ago, after the murder of George Floyd shook the world, here we...
It's kind of a simplistic take on a rather complicated situation that, that's exactly what I would expect from the from the neoliberal shill Al Sharpton. He's kind of part of the problem at this point. You know what I mean? He's more of a opportunist than anything, because I didn't see this guy come out in criticism of Barack Obama after Sandy Hook. I didn't see this guy come out in criticism of, I mean, he should be coming out in criticism of Joe Biden at this moment, being like, we need, real reform on this. Really often, Al Sharpton is carrying water for the neoliberals and acts as a baffler, acts as a controversy baffler for the neoliberals, right? Kind of giving them a break when they don't deserve a break at all.
We are. This video should be all a jury needs to convict the 5 officers who relentlessly beat Tyre Nichols to death. The Reverend Al Sharpton.
The video should be all that they need.
Going to be.
Is he going to talk about the police unions? I mean, is that the racism that he's talking about? Come on, Al, give me a little bit more nuance, baby.
Hosting a rally in Harlem a little bit later this afternoon. He's also going to be delivering the eulogy at Tyre Nichols' funeral on Wednesday.
And it's not just Americans who are paying close
If they
attention
want-
to
if
this
that's what
story,
they
Cam.
want.
I know as a part of your reporting, you're also watching what some Canadian officials, particularly in policing, what they're saying about all of this. What's that part of the story like?
A lot of comments coming out on this from Canadian policing, and again, universally condemning the actions of these 5 former officers. A statement from the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police goes on to say that in addition to condemning this, it recognizes that this will erode trust in policing in the United States and elsewhere, and that's a reality that it's going to be looking at. Also, we've seen a lot of individual statements come out from numerous chiefs of major police forces across
We're gonna
Canada,
look into
including
it.
Toronto's. And again, condemnation of the acts of these police officers and a commitment to try to work with minority communities.
And certainly,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, wow. They're committed, folks. They're so committed. I'm going to show a couple of clips from there was about a 4-hour protest. Or it was longer than 4 hours, but there's a 4-hour clip here from Status Quo where they covered on the ground the protest. Unlike CNN, unlike, all the other fucking major networks, couldn't bother to, pull out of their fucking $1 million operations to put a camera on the fucking ground. They can't do that shit. Walk around in big blue press vests. Unless it's a riot. Right, unless they're breaking shit. Oh, then let's go. Oh, go. Anderson Cooper out there. Why are you burning the 7-Eleven? Stop! Fucking bastards. You got real media out there covering it. Like Status Quo. They're doing a good job. I like Status Quo for the most part. I don't agree with Jordan on everything. He dipped his toe into talking about how much money is being sent to Ukraine, but he does make a good point in that, the United States is all over helping Ukraine, tripping over themselves to send as much money as possible, and Flint is literally still dealing with with lead in their pipes. Where are the priorities, right? And I think that is a fair criticism, 110%. Because we're actually capable of doing both. With his bony fucking finger, Joe Biden can fix the Flint water crisis. Why in the world doesn't he do it? I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't know, dude. I honestly do believe that people who have power and don't use it for the greater good are worse than the fucking criminals. He's just sitting on the fucking pot. You got to shit or get off the pot, Joe. He's just sitting there, feet dangling. I'm the president. Wow, I got all this power. Doing jack shit with it. You could be making people's lives so much better, dude. Fuck off.
What I probably remember the most is his smile. I mean, if you think about it, he has this very amazing smile and very joyful. Like he never had cliques. He just kind of loved everybody.
He just had an ease about him. He would kind of just float in and around a lot of different people, and he was kind-hearted.
My son had a lot of older guys he would look up to as a young kid trying to be a great skateboarder, and Tyree was one of those guys. I think the difficult thing is just it's so unexpected, right? Like you'd think you would expect it in some cases, but with Tyree it was just out of nowhere, and so I think we're all kind of shocked, and so we're texting each other as a family and sharing pictures and memories, and it's just hard to, this is way too young.
The fact that Tyree would take the time to spend time with younger kids, and he just was likable.
It was very easy for him to have a fit in our youth ministry because, it's very simple math for us is just love God and love people, and that came natural for Tyree to love God and love people. So my memories are always just his talents and his ability just to have open arms for anybody that came around his way.
There are solutions to these problems, okay? Do not believe the gaslighters that will tell you that there's just nothing we can do about this. Those people are despicable. And there's absolutely something we can do about this. All right. And the fact that those guys were 5 black guys shows us. It's the badge, it's the training, it's the mentality. It needs reform. It's rotten to the core. It's not a bad apple. It's rotten to the core. The whole fucking system. The top cop to the lowliest of traffic ticketer needs to be reformed. The entire paradigm needs to be investigated and reconfigured. Okay? They got plenty of money, but we need to tell them how to spend it. And if they need more, then they need more. That's fine. If it costs more to police correctly, that's fine. But this war against civilians is not working. War on drugs, war on terrorism, war on crime, war on my nuts, because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people sick of it. And is Joe Biden coming to us with solutions? No, he's coming, his heart in his hand. Oh, just like Obama. With his heart in his hand. I'm so sad about Sandy Hook. That's why I'm not going to do jack shit about it. Same bullshit. And what the fuck do we expect from the crime bill guy? He sees this and he's like, oh, by golly, I guess I got to double that police budget. You know, people like Woke Patriot to tell you, they've been around the tree a couple times. This shit isn't changing because the people in charge don't want to change it. A lot of bad news today.
Again and again and again, continuously, is traumatic. It's devastating. It makes me angry.
Yeah.
I feel frustrated, but I still feel optimistic to keep fighting.
I spoke with Tyree's mother and expressed my condolences and told her that I was going to be making the case to the Congress to pass the...
Whoa, hold on. Whoa. Do I hear policy? Whoa. Holy shit. Okay, hold on. Excuse me. The president is speaking. Excuse me very much. President is speaking, everyone. Listen, please.
Frustrated, but I still feel optimistic to keep fighting.
I spoke with Tyree's mother and expressed my condolences and told her that I was going to be making the case to the Congress to pass the George Floyd Act. We should get this under control. The stake is
that thing isn't going to go. That thing that's not going to go anywhere because of the house that you lost. You could have actually easily held on to if you actually promised the American people something more than mediocrity. Oh yeah, that thing that has absolutely no fucking chance of passing. Yeah, okay. Well, he's going to double down on that one. Got an executive order? Got any of those executive orders there, bud? No, I respect the office too much. That's why I squint so hard. It's all that respect. It's hard to hold it in. It's not because I'm a senile. No, you know, I don't mean to be ageist. I'm sick and tired of the ageism. It's not because I'm a fucking piece of shit. You know what?
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
You know what? I'm having a good Sunday.
First of all, innocent people lives, number one. Number two, it has a lot to say and do with the image of America.
Yeah, it really does. You know what's also really bad? A really bad look for America when our leaders do nothing in the face of repeated incidences. We got cops shooting people out their windows. We got cops running people down in their cop cars. We got cops, and this has been going on since the 90s, by the way. We got cops breaking down people's doors and shooting up the joint, and it's the wrong address. Joe Biden, we're going to do something about it. I'm going to squint so hard. Whoa! It isn't. Yeah, it does make us look bad. Yeah, Joe, it does. It really does. By the way, little bonus video here at the end once we're done with our mass shooting tracker. But let's go ahead and just take a look at some of the protests that happened last night. Sorry I wasn't able to stream. I got home at like 8 o'clock, you know. And, you know, the whole NYPD shut it down. Like, don't be criticizing them for their lack of nuance on these chants, okay? It's got to be snappy. All right, let the representative explain to you what the policy proposals are, but don't expect too much nuance from some of these chants. All right. Yeah, there we go. So then I think they try to move it to the highway.
No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Fuck these racist ass police. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
Yeah, so we need about 10 more million of these people. And you could be that person. This is what my 3-step program does for you folks. You can get your ass out there. You can get it done. Okay? Protests don't mean shit unless they're disruptive. Okay? And the easiest way for a protest to be disruptive is to have a shitload of people in a place that they're not supposed to be. Right? You know, if you got 10,000 people, you think the cops can amass a force big enough to move 10,000 people? It would take them days. It would take them days. All right? Multiply that by 5. Multiply that by 10. The power of the people collectively is unbelievable. And governments across the world are fully aware of it. Why do you think it's the first thing they do when they start seeing a little sprinkle of protest? They flip out and lock it down. And there's a fucking reason. Exactly. Lee's done his time. Welcome back, Lee. He's put in the work. Don't make him go. An old ass man, okay? This is a job for the young. You go. This is step 3 right here. This, you know, after you've achieved step 2, which is find a progressive political organization. So you got this one here, PECL. I don't know, kind of looks communist. Whatever, it doesn't matter, folks. Anarchist, communist. I don't give a shit, dude. I don't give a shit. You want to walk around in full period appropriate circus gear from the 1960s, and that's your whole political philosophy, but you're marching for single-payer health care. I don't care. I mean, you got the squeaky shoes, you got the honker on the nose, the fucking ridiculous hat. I don't care. I don't care, but that's step 2. Find a progressive political organization in your area, and that can be a union, that could be an activist organization, you know, that could be just a group of concerned citizens, right, who are coalescing around a policy that they're really passionate about, raising the minimum wage, lowering gas prices. Type it into the Google machine and find it. It's there. I guarantee you it's there. Unless you live in the fucking middle of the Mojave Desert, it's there. Oh, is anyone? I'm at Oasis 17 in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Does anyone want to do a protest for more water? I don't want to leave. They can't get me to leave my Oasis. This is great. So let me see. What is this? Party for social liberalism? Liberation? Atlanta? These guys sound awesome. These guys look great. The red is scaring me off. Maybe it wouldn't be for me. It's a little too communist. Maybe. But socialism. Party for socialism. Yeah, so they're communists. But look, folks, guys, get out there, okay? Get out there. All right? We can't do this alone. We can't do this alone. If you want to join up with the communists, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. The Scorpion Unit. And now they're in jail for fucking murder. And will the police unions have these guys' backs? Because if not, they're going to legit jail for legit life. Scorpion stands for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhood. So they run around like a gang of fucking thugs, beating people up like this is a RoboCop movie.
I want to just say this because I thought about it. If we are going to continue this fight, I need everybody to find somebody that they don't know and meet them. How about that? Because
Yeah.
we are the justice family right now.
No, you know, I will say the police have done a really successful job of stymieing what would normally be a massive turnout. The race thing is also the cops being black. I think that confuses a lot of people as well. That that muddies it. That makes it harder to take a side.
Hey, three steps back, media. We need this space so we can see what's going on in front of us. You guys, on the right, please stay behind.
Okay, she power tripping a little bit. You know, just start moving. They'll get out of the way, and if they don't get out of the way, then they get trampled. What are you gonna do? Yeah. So I mean, the police did a really good job of if would would this happen if those were 5 white guys beating a white guy or a black guy? Would they have been immediately arrested, or would they have been put on administrative leave? All right, so let's get an interview with Mr. Communist here. I'm curious to hear what he has to say. This I don't know what this is, but this is really cool. I don't know. This is really neat. I want this. It says realist. It really does show the. I think they're the only two communists there. They're the only two people wearing this Party for Socialism sweatshirt. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, man. I mean, no offense to the communists in the audience, but if you guys want to start, being taken seriously, you really need to work on your organization. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a party that will take over. If the United States were to collapse right now, the communists wouldn't have the organizational might to take over, right? Which is apparently what a lot of, obviously not these two, but a lot of Twitter communists are just waiting around for a fucking revolution, waiting for the end, waiting for late stage capitalism to collapse, and And then I guess the idea is that socialism would then, you know, be immediately embraced and take over, but you're not going to do it without a lot more organization. You need a lot more bodies. You need a lot more people convinced. All right, so we're going to get to the interview here, and then we'll move on. Yeah, not nearly enough people. Not nearly enough. So the communists I would know in the event of such a collapse would be focused on local action than taking over the whole country. Sure, woke patriot. I mean, and that's where it would start. But I mean, you know, where would that get them? You know what I mean? Like if they start trying to implement a communist solution, you know, I feel like they need to be a much larger presence for people to, you know, if the idea is for them to come in after the collapse of late stage capitalism, which I think is all farcical. This, and also the doomsday clock is also, it seems to be a completely ridiculous concept. These people are not swamis. What are you fucking talking about? And they kind of like they've tucked themselves in a corner because it's almost midnight, so now they're just moving it by seconds. It's a little silly. All right, commie. All right, commie. Tell me your fucking plan.
I have not watched the video yet. I know I don't have to watch the video to know that these cops are guilty. The cops are fired, almost immediately. The cops, are now being charged with second-degree murder. It speaks to what's on that video, I plan to watch the video, but it already speaks to what's on that video. And what's on that video is a crime against humanity. It's a crime against Black America. And that's why we are standing against this crime. That is why we're out here in these streets demanding full-scale justice, because the whole damn system is guilty for crimes against humanity and crimes against Black America.
You know, as long as this guy's pro-Trotsky and not pro-Stalin, I'll gladly chill with a communist. You know what I mean? If we're having conversations about Trotsky, I'm chill. If we're talking about rebuilding the legacy of Lenin or Stalin, I'm Audi 5000. You see, look, this guy's shy. This guy's putting himself out there. This guy's probably a little terrified. He's got cameras in his face. He's leading a march. His heart's probably beating. You know what I mean? But he knows it's the right thing. He doesn't even need to see the video to know it's the right thing. And he's 100% correct. He's 100% correct. Right? But it takes a little bit of courage, takes a little bit of strength to put yourself out there to become a leader. Right? But let me tell you, it's important. It not only feels good, but it's important. You need to become that leader. And if you're incapable of becoming that leader, you need to learn how to become a good follower. All right? But you need to learn how to participate. Now, look, these are hard lessons. These are hard. I'm telling you to get off your ass and do something, which is none of these commentators do. They don't tell you to participate in activism. They don't tell you that's the solution. They don't want to lose you. They want to make you laugh and, oh, we're having fun. Real life isn't fun, and that's kind of shitty, right? It kind of sucks. It's little bursts of fun, but a whole lot of bullshit. And if we want less bullshit, we got to work. We got to put in the work. We got to put in the labor, okay? We're standing on the fucking giants that built this world for us, right? The reason why we have an 8-hour work day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If we want to keep these things, we need to keep the struggle moving. And that's it. We have to shift into this idea that it is a struggle. It's a job. It's a daily obligation. What am I doing for the movement? How am I making my life better, but also my neighbor's life better? Right? Because it's about my kids. It's about all this, right?
I think at this point that we need reforms. We do need reforms now, but the whole system of policing came from slave catchers. The whole system of policing came from strike breakers. And what we need.
He's young, okay? And he's also been put on the spot. I'm sure if given time, he'd give you a much more nuanced answer. I see what he's getting. I see what he's getting at.
Now is control of our own communities, our own working class communities. And what we need now is a whole overhaul of the policing system. That's what we need in this country.
Yep.
Is an overhaul of the policing
Complete
system.
reform.
A radical redistribution of wealth that Dr. King was talking about 50 years ago.
Okay. There we go. Slipped a little into it, into the communist stuff. He's not wrong though. We need radical redistribution of wealth in this country.
Hatred.
Exactly.
That's what we need. That's what this country needs. It's not about black or white. We need a cleanse of hatred.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And people are, there are people that are aware of it, right? But it does confuse a lot of people who, black or white, Asian, whatever it is. A lot of people will view their entire worldview will be through the lens of a race. And, and it's very difficult for me as a white guy to sit here with all my privilege, which does exist as a white guy. Let me tell you, it's hard for me to sit here with all my privilege and point that out, that there are some people that do view literally everything through the eyes of race. And it can be very difficult to have constructive conversations about how we get beyond that when, race is such a critical part of their identity and worldview.
Exactly. We need a system for us.
Yeah. Well, that was a great, power to you, buddy. Power to you out there doing the best you can. Love to see it. I love to see it. And I want to see more of it. I want to see this quadrupled, quintupled. You love to fucking see it. All right, so while these folks are marching here, let's go over our mass shooting tracker. Hey, you love to see it. Where's it? Where's my, oh yeah, here we go. There it is. Mass shooting tracker brought to you by Garbage Fuel. Garbage Fuel, the #1 drink mix company in the world, bringing you up-to-date statistics on all the mass shootings happening in America. Mass shooting tracker brought to you by Garbage Fuel, #1 drink mix company in the world. All right, folks, what do we got? 49 mass shootings as of today, 2023. 3 dead, 4 injured in Los Angeles, California. Gunman unknown, all 4 wounded victims in critical condition. Lancaster, PA, 0 dead. Oh, 0 dead. Is that even a mass shooting? I don't know. We better ask Ben Shapiro. Gunman unknown, only 4 injured. Better luck next time. New Jersey, Newark, 1 dead, 3 injured. Gunman unknown, conflicting reports as to whether there were 3 or 4 wounded victims. Red Springs, North Carolina, 3 dead, 1 injured. There you go. Domestic victims, 2 adult children. Oh, I bet they were adorable. 2 adult children of gunman's cousin killed. Gunman Corey G. Leak. All right. Good luck to you, Corey G. Leak. Yakima, Washington, 4 dead. Gunman Jared Haddock shot and killed himself. Gunman shot and killed 3 victims at a gas station. Initial reports of a 4th wounded victim appears to have been false. Oh, well. Better luck next time to Jared Haddock. There you go, folks. That's Garbage Fuel's mass shooting update in the United States. 49. I think we can make that a little higher, don't you, folks? Brought to you by Garbage Fuel, of course, the #1 drink mix company in the world. Make sure you join those protests if you'd like to see any of this change. Oh, you don't have time. I know. It's okay.
Yeah, I know you mentioned it before. So
It's a good way to keep my viewers, right? Yeah, Chem Goblin, Garbage Fuel is one of the few drinks that actually can provide lead poisoning as well as triple the amount of microplastics that you get from your leading brand of drink mix. Those little micro beads that used to be in face wash? Yeah, well, they had to go somewhere. They made a lot of them. Right in the Garbage Fuel, baby. Adds that texture that people crave. All right. I don't have time for the medical abuse update. We'll get them next time. There you go, folks. That's your U.S. update. Oh, wait, no, I have my bonus video. I'm sorry. My bonus video, real quick. Nancy Pelosi's husband getting conked in the head with a hammer. Of course, I don't agree with this. I think this is tragic, but I would like to point out that it's incredibly ironic that Nancy Pelosi's family has done nothing for the mental health crisis in San Francisco, has applied neoliberal band-aids at every opportunity, never really investing the money necessary to truly do anything about it. And here they are, their family, being victimized by what is clearly a mentally ill man. This scenario is bizarre. Watch this. He answers the door.
Yeah, definitely don't want all up here. I definitely don't want all up here. Hello.
Commie shitbag. Thank you for the follow. Hopefully you're a Trotsky guy. Okay, so this is crazy, right? Answers the fucking door. Paul Pelosi, he's the one with the hammer. He's like a very old man trying to defend himself from this guy who's just waiting around, waiting for Nancy Pelosi to get here. The phone call to the police was totally weird because he's on the cell phone and he has to act nonchalant. He's acting really chill. He's trying to keep everything really, really chill with this guy, right? So he's on the phone. He's like, yeah, there's a stranger in my house. I'm the husband of Nancy Pelosi. By the way, I'm the husband of Nancy Pelosi, by the way. And yeah, there's a guy in my house. So this is how it starts. Marx was a bum who couldn't even support himself. He couldn't support himself because he depended on the people, and then the people let him down. That's why it didn't work. Yeah, hey, how you doing, bud? Hey.
What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? Hi.
Drop
Hey.
the hammer. Nope. Hey. What is going on right now?
Okay. Okay, so they actually cut it out of the video as well. But he takes the hammer, cocks back, and fucking clunks him, dude. Just a solid clunk, man, and knocks his ass down to the ground. And then that's where the video ends, is with the police, you know, accosting him. Yeah. So there you go. That's your bonus video. Like I said, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's cool. I don't think violence against, you know, anybody is cool. But I do find it ironic that a family that's had firm control over the politics of an area has done nothing. I mean, you know, little things here and there for the mental health crisis in their city, and is now being victimized by what is clearly a mentally ill guy. Hi, put the hammer down. No. I mean, why was he there? Why did he allow the door to even be open? Like, clearly mentally ill. And I do find it a little ironic that that family is, you know, directly victimized by a mentally ill person like that. Of course, I don't wish that upon anyone. Let me just reiterate, I don't think it's cool. All right, so there you go. That's my U.S. update. Mass shooting update. Police brutality update, Joe Biden update. He's getting it done, folks. That Joe Biden, he's got all the policies. He's just keeping them secret so that his enemy doesn't know all of his secret plans. And, you know, when the timing's right, he's going to get really progressive. All right? You just got to make sure to keep voting Democrat. Keep voting Democrat, okay? They got all the secret plans, and they're just waiting for the right time to implement, okay? Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Come to Twitch. You know, come wherever. Whatever.